Hi folks, it's Andy. I hope you're having a fantastic day and welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. I've got quite a few questions for you today, a little fewer than usual because I'm actually filming a little bit earlier than I have been doing recently because I'm going away for the weekend, so sorry. But we've got some great questions. I'll get to them in just a minute. But if you haven't done so already, go and check out our t-shirt store on Teespring. It's pretty awesome. This is one of the examples. It says, Keizoku wa chikara nari. Perseverance is power. It's one of my personal favourite designs. I love that saying. I think it's really, really relevant to Kendo. You can get your Kendo t-shirts, you can get your Kendo masks, your face coverings, stuff like that. And it supports the show as well. So yeah, go and check it out. There's a link in the description down below. Right, first one. During a remote Kendo session, my sensei, a short green chap with long ears, said to me, "The force you will use." What's the force? Do you sell it at KendoStar? So the force is, it's basically the street cred that you get from wearing KendoStar products. So effectively, we do sell the force because all you have to do is invest in the KendoStar brand products and you'll be using the force. So yeah, good luck with that. Next one. One of my teachers here recently came into possession of a bunch of new shinai. I was the first at practice and she offered me my pick. She asked me where I liked the balance. Even after 17 years of Kendo, I still wonder if this is a thing. If this is a thing, as I have no idea. I picked the one with the fattest grip. She was like, "Oh, that's a nice balance." I only responded with "Hi," and went back to setting up. So my question is, how long did it take you to find a balance point you like, and where is it on the shinai? So the thing is, for me with shinai, I guess the question here is, what kind of shinai do you like, and how did you come about liking it? The thing is, for me is, I don't really think it's a good idea to just use the same shinai all the time. I have different shinai for different purposes because that's how they're designed to be. I have quite a few like reasonably weighty koto gata shinai there, where that's where the weight is generally evenly distributed across the shinai blade. That I like to use for like uchikomi and kirikaishi and kihon, stuff like that, where I'm just doing lots of repeated hits, because they're more durable and they feel quite solid. You get solid strikes out of them. If you do that sort of practice with like a jissengata or a dobari shinai, it's got a light tip, there's a tendency to for it to encourage strikes that are too light, that aren't solid enough. And then what I'll do is I'll switch over to something that feels more light in terms of balance, something like a dobari or a jissengata, something like the junki that we have. I'll switch over to something like that for like Shii or Jigeko or something like that. So if I wanted an all-round shinai, like if I didn't have the chance to swap shinai between exercises and stuff, then I'd just go with our KendoStar all-purpose shinai. That's exactly what it's designed for. It's a balance between those two types of balance. And in the goriki is a good choice as well. It's just a basic cheap and cheerful shinai. So yeah, that's the sort of thing I go for. In terms of, how long it took me to find that sort of preference? Well, years, to be honest, and I'm still changing every now. I go through phases where I prefer certain types and others, and I'm certainly less fussy now than I was probably 5 to 10 years ago. I went through a stage where I was really, really particular over the shinai I was using, and then I went through a stage of not caring at all, like I was just using the cheapest ones, and then I went, recently I started to just think more practically about the application of the shinai itself, and using a shinai that was more appropriate for the exercise at hand. Next one, you thought I was going to read this question, but I'm not. I'm going to show you this video. Okay, that was a video from KendoStar. That's my company, of course, that sells amazing, wonderful, fantastic Kendo equipment. If you thought you could skip past the beginning of the video to skip the KendoStar plug, you were dead wrong. Don't skip the KendoStar plug. Shop at KendoStar, support the channel. You get the best gear in the world, best service to go with it. So yeah, go and shop at KendoStar. It's amazing. Next one. Hi, what is the inside of the hakama piece on the back and inside the dormune to make it stiff? Also, could you please explain to me how the Lucky Bundle works and why does it remind me of loot boxes so much? Okay, so inside the back of the hakama is plastic. It's a sort of a thin plastic sort of sheet. The koshita, that's the hard plate that goes against your back. That's plastic. Inside the dormune, it's not plastic. It's layers of cardboard and then like foam. Not foam, like a kind of high density foam, like a padded thing, and then it's covered with leather and stitched. In terms of the Lucky Bundle, let me explain how that works. Okay, so here I am on the KendoStar.com website, and I'll tell you exactly about how this Lucky Bundle works. We've got a thank you sale going on right now. I did a video about that earlier today. This is basically just as a way of us saying thank you, really, for the support you've given us over the last couple of months where it's been really difficult for everybody. Inside the sale page, you'll find there's this Lucky Bundle, Kansha Fukubukuro, and there's the video there with me pulling a brilliant face on the thumbnail. Talking about, saying my thank yous and talking about this a little bit. But basically, it's dead simple, okay? It's £295 or whatever the local, equivalent is in your currency. And you get £600 worth of gear inside. Now, so basically, that's it. You pay $295 and we send you a minimum of £600 worth of stuff. Now, we also are using this current sale prices, not the retail prices, to calculate that £600. So you definitely get a really good value set. You put your sizing stuff in so that we can use that to select the appropriate items depending on what we've got in stock. And we also, we do make sure that we include a selection of items that you can actually use. So I understand why you're saying that it reminds you of loot boxes, which is what you see in sort of video games where you pay to buy a box that might contain specific items that are like cosmetic, but this is different. This is based on the Japanese sort of traditional practice of fukubukuro, which means lucky bag, where you go into a department store or a shop or whatever, and you'll buy a bag that contains certain you'll pay a certain price for the bag, say, I don't know, 20,000 yen, and it'll have like 35,000 yen's worth of stuff inside. It's that idea, all right? We're not looking to kind of rip anyone off here or do anything silly like that. We are genuinely looking at, we're trying to make space for the autumn stock deliveries. So we're just using this as a way to help everyone get a great deal on stuff that we can't necessarily just put out there on regular product pages. So for example, some of the examples of stuff that we've been sending out are like bug value sets. We sent out like a decent men kote tare set with some other goodies in there, and that was worth well over £600. Stuff like that, high grade uniform sets. There's all sorts of things that you could get in there, but it just depends on what we've got available in your sizing. All right, so it's not like a loot box in that you get something that's real that you actually touch and use. There's no chance of getting something worth £600. Everybody gets about the same amount, and you get you get stuff you can actually use. Every piece of the Lucky Bundle is something that you'll be able to use in your actual Kendo practice. Okay, so it's a decent deal. I really do think it's worth it. So yeah, go and check it out. Okay, next question. What's the best method for tying tsuru? Okay, let's have a look at the video that I've done about this. Okay, so in this video, I basically go through some different types of shinai. It's a little bit out of date, if I'm honest with you, because I filmed this like back in 2016. So I'm going to film an updated video. But if you watch it from sort of halfway through, I do talk about how to take a shinai apart and how to put it back together again. And specifically, let's turn the sound down so we're not hearing my voice twice. I talk about here, from here, how to tie the tsuru. Now, this particular video shows a shinai that uses a double loop tsukagawa, but it's not a problem. If this is a single loop tsukagawa, you just, instead of passing it through both of those, you just pass it through the one and then do the rest the same. All right? And don't worry if you don't have one of these little leather things. You can just use a loop in the tsuru itself, all right? But I do show in detail how to tie up the tsuru, and this is the best way to do it, okay? Okay, next one. What do you think about teaching the basics of Jodan in Kihon to people who are not complete beginners, let's say starting from first dan? Do you think this practice can help you better understand how to fight someone in Jodan? That's a good question. It depends how much you do practice. If you only practice if you practice less than 3 times a week for 2 hours at a time, probably you could spend that time doing something better. To be honest, it's rare that people will play against Jodan in Shii or in Keiko even. So if people want to learn how to do that, and you've got loads of practice time, if you're practicing like 5 times a week for 2 hours at a time, then sure, spend an hour doing that. But don't prioritize that over stuff that will help people improve quicker. To be honest, because you'll learn how to fight against Jodan as you improve your kendo ability anyway, because the concepts are actually quite similar. I'd say that starting at first dan is probably too early, unless, like I say, you've got a lot of practice time. If you practice, like I say, if you're practicing 5 times a week for 2 hours a day, then or even if you're practicing 3 times a week for 2 hours at a time, you could spend half an hour to an hour doing that, sure. But if you're only practicing once or twice a week, I don't think it's the best use of those people's time, especially if they're only around first or second dan. If you've got a group of people who are all like 4th, 5th dan, then that's a bit different. But you'd probably be better doing kirikaishi or something like that. Next one. Hi Andy, I've been watching lots of Shii Analysis videos and being relatively new to Kendo, not having been to a Shii firsthand, I'd like to ask if you can give us some insights into what is happening in the background. Sometimes I see what appears to be elaborate scoreboards with Japanese text and long tables with very official looking people sitting and watching. This also seems to vary by level of event. Can you give us a little education on this, please? Thank you. Yes, sure I can. Let's bring up a video and we'll talk it through. Okay, so here's a video I've gleaned off of YouTube. It is basically from Japan Heijoshin Peace of Mind, and basically here you can sort of see the setup you're talking about. There's a scoreboard there. Can't quite see the text on it, but I'll take you through that in a minute. And then there's the table. Oh, I know some of the people on that table. Anyway, one of those is one of my sensei. The people sat there are the other shimpan that are waiting for their turn to do the shimpan. In this case, usually as well, the shimpan shunin will sit there. That's often the case anyway, and they will record there's usually like a piece of paper with the referee rotation on it, and they'll usually record the scores of the Shii as well. So yeah, that's basically what that table is for. It's mainly for the shimpan who are, because there's more than just 3 shimpan assigned to that court. These shimpan will all be assigned to this specific shiaijo, and then they will take it in turns to do the shimpan. I think I just saw another kid. I think I know that kid too. Anyway, okay, so I've cut to a different section of the video, and there's more people that I know here actually. I used to practice at this high school. Right, the scoreboard here. This basically, they often look very different, but essentially they all follow the same format where they're split in half. There's a row of names on the top and on the bottom, and they're the names of the players from the team. Okay, so this is the team names here. All right, so that one says Chinze, that's this school here in red, and the bottom one says Kyushu Gakuin, which is the other school. And then the names of the players are listed along there. Now, this looks like it's probably the Daihyo-sen. That means that when the teams are drawn, there's a draw and they're all on equal scores. Both of them send a representative player out to do Ippon Shobu. And that's probably what's happening here, which is why there's only one name. And then on here, they're going to write the score. So if like one of them scores a men, then they'll write the katakana me, which stands for men. If it's kote, they write ko, which stands for kote. If they score do, it's a katakana do. And if it's ski, they write katakana tsu for ski. That's how they symbol that usually. So that's basically what that is. It says what shiaijo is. That's shiaijo number 2. And they often write like the names of the shimpan and stuff on it as well. There's a space for it on that one. But yeah, that's what all the stuff on the board means. Okay, next question. Hi Andy, why in Bokuto ni yoru Kihonwaza Keikoho is the last Kihon Uchiotoshi? And why is Do Uchiotoshi Men instead of another more useful technique? Well, I don't know, because I didn't have anything to do with making them. But if you think about it, most of the other types of waza are covered in the Bokuto ni yoru Kihonwaza Keiko. Basically, you have suriage waza, you have kaisui waza. That's other than Uchio, that's it. The other type of oji waza is Uchiotoshi waza. You have Nuki waza as well, of course. So, for Uchiotoshi, essentially, I think the idea is that it shows almost every type of technique in Kendo. And, you know, so they kind of had to put Uchiotoshi in there somewhere. I think many of the moves, you know, not all of the moves in the actual Kihon Waza set, they're not exactly practical waza, but they help you kind of understand the idea of Uchiotoshi. Uchiotoshi as an oji waza, like, the simplest one is Do Uchiotoshi Men. Okay, it's just the simplest one. The most common one is Kote Uchiotoshi Men. So it's like Ai Gote Men is also called Kote Uchiotoshi Men. It's basically the same waza. But you can't really do that with the Bokuto safely. So I think that's why Do Uchiotoshi Men is done, because it teaches the principle of Uchiotoshi whilst remaining sort of easy enough for kids to do with the Bokuto. Next one, how to do Mitoriyeko effectively. Haha, well, I've answered this, and here's where I did it. So I'm back on the KendoStar website now, and just a couple of days ago, I posted a blog post called, where is it? Let's see if we can find it. The Blueprint of Perfect Practice Mitoriyeko, okay? And in here, I talk about how does training from, like, in Japan differ from overseas, and about how the importance of Mitoriyeko is, you know, affects your kendo. But I also wrote down here, we have to do more than just watch. You have to analyze, you have to try and imprint the image of what you're seeing onto your brain, and then you have to take that imprint back to the dojo and compare what you're doing with that imprint every time you swing the shinai. And I talk about it in depth here. All right, so go and read this blog post. If I remember, I'll post a link down below, but it's on the KendoStar website in the KendoStar blog, okay? But definitely go and read it. You basically, the gist of it is you don't just watch it. And this is the mistake lots of people do when they're doing Mitoriyeko, is they'll put on a Shii video and they'll be like, whoa, yeah, oh, wow, okay, well, wow, great, man, that was brilliant, wow, like that. And then just forget about it, leave it there. What you have to do is you have to see something and you have to be like, right, wow, that is the blueprint of the kendo that I want to do. And you take that image and you burn it onto your brain, and you take that to the dojo and you keep that in your mind when you're going to do men, so let's say men, Kihon Waza, and you consider that and you think, right, okay, I'm going to do it exactly as I saw Takanabe Sensei do in that video. And then, bam, you do it. And then you try and think, was that how it was, or did I do it differently? And you try to match those together. And then what you also do is, even better, is if you can film yourself, you can just use your phone, film yourself doing it, and then watch it back and compare it to the video. That's what I've continually done throughout my kendo career, and it's made a massive difference to my improvement, and I really recommend doing it. Okay, it's the last one. I'm a taller kendoka, 6'2" or 188 centimeters. I'm wondering which other kendo I should study or emulate. Well, actually, there's a lot of really famous, really tall players. If you're asking about what famous players you should watch for inspiration, I'd recommend somebody like Shoji Teramoto Sensei. Teramoto Sensei is very tall. Sato Hiromitsu Sensei, or Hiromitsu Sato Sensei, I should say, to be consistent with the way I pronounced Teramoto Sensei's name. But yeah, Sato Sensei is very tall. Who else is very tall? Takenouchi is very tall. Takenouchi Yuya, he's very tall. Who else is very tall? Those guys, definitely. I definitely look at those guys. Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. So yeah. Brilliant. That's it for today. Thanks for watching me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, you know what? I hope you watched this last time. You've got to, after clicking subscribe, there's a bell. That's the Kendo bell. If you don't press and ring that bell, the Kendo bell, you don't get better at Kendo. That's the rumor I've heard. In fact, I've heard that if you don't do it, you start to get worse. So go there, down below this video, subscribe. It doesn't mean anything clicking subscribe. Don't be scared, all right? Clicking subscribe on YouTube means nothing, right? So don't worry about it. Don't be scared of it. Click it and then go over to the bell and ring the bell. And then you're going to start getting better at Kendo from that very instant, all right? It's a slow process, all right? So don't expect to wake up as a Hachidan, but you'll start off on the right path. Go down there, subscribe, bell icon, okay? Brilliant. Thanks for watching. Shop at KendoStar. See you all next time. Bye-bye.